Who doesn't like saving money, Tyler? We like saving money, don't we? And Land Rover have equipped this fine vehicle, this Land Rover Defender, with an eco mode. It's going to save us money, apparently, so we put it to the test. So we didn't do a needless journey. We were going on a journey anyway, so we thought we'd take the Land Rover on one of our little Christmas trips to see the in-laws. What's the difference between in-laws and outlaws, Tyler? None. No, that's a good answer. The outlaws are normally wanted. That's the difference. Right, so we took it up and we did the trip. So we drove up there. This was George's idea, actually. We drove up there in normal comfort mode. We'll show you how to set the terrain response. And then he said, why don't we drive back, do the same route, the same distance, and see if putting it in eco mode saves us any fuel. And I'll put some of the images on the screen now, but I'll have to look at it on my phone as I do this. So we drove up there before Christmas, and one cool thing is we've got the app. We've got the In Control app on our phone, and we took a screenshot. So we drove it, and it records your travel, where you're from and to. And as you can see, so we drove for 2 hours, 52 minutes. We did an average of 51 miles per hour. Bear in mind, I did have Mrs. Powerful in the car with me, so we weren't racing anywhere, not that we race anyway. And we did 137 miles, and we did 21.7 miles per gallon. Now, we will stop the video here a little bit. We won't stop, but we will take a pause. So we'll refer to these figures later, and I'll put them side by side. So this car is a 2-litre petrol. This is the P300, 300 brake horsepower, 2-litre petrol. Now, we don't do massive mileage in our car. We don't really use it every day. We just use it for projects and going on trips and stuff for YouTube. So we haven't done massive mileage in this one. So I wasn't really worried about getting the most economical version. And we were getting quite worried at the time about, in the UK, they were banning diesels from some cities. So we went for the smallest petrol engine we could get. So we thought that will give us the best value, purchase price, running cost, sort of compromise to what we wanted. And we're really pleased with this. We've taken it off-road. It's been really good. I don't feel it lacks power. It's pokey. So there we go. So this is for the, I just wanted to emphasize, this is for the 2-litre petrol. So you can see there 21 miles per gallon. Now, that's making a lot of people scream and shout and going, it's a modern car, and that's pretty horrific. And it's not great. It's not great. I don't know what the official Land Rover figures are. I will take a look. I'll see if we can get a brochure up and see what they claim it is. Now, this trip, it has some motorway, some country roads, some town driving, not really much city driving. We didn't really stop much. You can see we did the trip in one. We didn't stop for any breaks. We just did it, and that was pretty cool. Right, and then so we did the same journey on the way back. So let me just flick to that. And you'll see, again, it took us 1 minute more. I think is 2 hours and 51. We averaged 51 miles an hour. So this is with economy mode on now. Now, we will talk about what economy mode does in a minute. In fact, I'll put both things on the screen so you can see them. So we did an average speed. The distance, as you would expect, is 137. But my miles per gallon now has gone up from 21.7 to 22.8. Now, 1.1 miles per gallon improvement over 21 is a 5% improvement. So it's better than nothing, but it hasn't turned it into an eco warrior machine, really. So it did make a difference. So we looked at the manual and we thought, what does eco mode do? And they're a bit vague, aren't they, Tyler? It says it changes various parameters, but it does go on to give you some of the things it does. Now, when you're driving in eco mode, the throttle response, whether it's true or psychosomatic, it seems to just pick you up a little more slowly. It sort of protects you from accelerating too hard. But in the manual, it goes on to say that it disables your heated rear window and your heated front seats. And the interesting one, it says it may in some occasions turn your audio volume down. So I guess if you've whacked that amplifier right up and you're drawing like 800 amps through the amplifier, it must temper that, but that wasn't a problem for us. Right, so that's eco mode, that's what it does, that's the impact it had on us. Let's have a look in the car and show you how to set yourself driving in eco mode. Right, you join us in the car, so let's start her up. Oh, there we go. So you start it up and we're going to use the terrain response. So The terrain response is here. It might not be booted up quick enough. Let's see if it's got there yet. Here we go. And we can either do this touch screen or we can rotate it. Oh, there you go. What's it give? Eco. There's the eco there. Let's have him there. And the eco program is selected. So that's how you do it. Easy as that. And then when you're, does it give us, yeah, on the display here, can you see that, Tyler? Yeah. We've got above the P for park, we've got the eco there. So we've got, just shows you in your dash there that you're on eco mode as opposed to the normal mode. So the normal default mode, just for those that don't know, is comfort, isn't it? Which is just that normal car, which is comfort. And then you just get the arse end of a car as your little thingy there. Back end of a bus, it looks like there. There you go. Now the interesting thing, let's set it in eco mode and let's do an ignition cycle and see whether, if we ignition cycle it, so say we like want to put it in eco mode and drive it every day, we don't want to be playing with all this computery every day, let's see if it will do it. So we should better simulate that. Let's have a look. So we're in eco mode, we can see we got the eco there, we turn it off, we open the door, we close it again, we jump back in our car, we start it up, and now you see it defaults back to the comfort mode. We can see there. Now that's quite interesting. Let me just turn that off because this is really quite interesting. So one of the options we can select on the terrain response is the muds and ruts and the off-road. And when we were driving off-road, it got a bit irritating because I'd be driving along a track and then I'd see a tree was over that I needed to trim. So I'd get out, and to save fuel and environment, I would turn the car off, do my key tree cutting and sort stuff out. Then I'd get back in the car and drive off, but it hadn't remembered the off-road mode, the muds and ruts mode that I was in. And it reset back to comfort. Now, I sort of asked a couple of questions to some people at Land Rover and stuff, and apparently it's a government regulation that the car needs to return to the sort of default setting every ignition cycle that it was sort of approved on. And one of the guises was that, one of the reasons was that it's for the to stop use, you know, to improve fuel economy, and that the quoted fuel economy of the car needs to be maintained, because otherwise if you had some tricky mode, if you had sport mode or some uneconomic mode, it would then not default to that, and it should default. But interestingly, it defaults, if you're in economy, it defaults to a less economic mode, which is a bit weird, isn't it, Tyler? Yeah. Anyway, there we go. So if you use eco, you have to reset it and redo it every time. And that, if you're on a trip and you stop at the motorway services and get back in again and drive on, you're going to have to remember, not to drop your microphone, and you're going to have to remember to put it back in eco mode. What about auto? That's a good thing. I don't think auto does the eco. I think auto is more to do with terrain response too, and that was to do with adapting to the surroundings. I don't think it defaults to turning your heaters off, giving you a lower throttle response. But it's a good question, Tyler. Right, there we go. We will leave that there today. Eco mode sort of explained.